To celebrate the return of MLB Best Ball, we're giving away $50 cash. To enter, all you need to do is like this video, subscribe to the LineStar YouTube channel, and comment below the video. One lucky winner will be randomly selected from the comments and announced on our next Underdog Fantasy Best Ball show. But wait, there's more. By liking and commenting on all 11 of our Best Ball videos, you're automatically entered in to win a $250 grand prize. The winner of the grand prize will be announced on our final Best Ball show of the season on March 29th. Good luck, let's go win some money. Welcome to the On Deck Podcast, presented by LineStar. Alongside Tyler Wiemann, I am Shannon Sommerville. We are here to get you set for your Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Draft. If you aren't already playing in a Best Ball Draft, get on it. It is so much fun. If you're not sure what that is, well, guess what? We have a video for you that explains the whole thing. Basically, it's just fantasy baseball without having to change your lineup throughout the course of the season. It's just the draft, and then Underdog Fantasy does the work for you throughout the season. It's a big tournament. $100,000 is going to the winner. So you got to be in it to win it. Make sure when you do sign up for Underdog Fantasy that you use our promo code LineStar, and you'll get up to $100 of your first deposit matched. It's a great way. Plus, you get 2 free months of LineStar, which is some awesome software to help you dominate in daily fantasy and in the prop market. So make sure to check that out. All right, today on the show, we're talking about some Underdog Best Ball strategy, specifically team stacking late in those late rounds. Tyler, first of all, why is stacking so important in a best ball tournament?
First of all, you know it is important when Shannon has her computer.
Yes.
Min business.
We're down to business, and we're going to do some calculations here.
So stacking is important because baseball is such a team game, and you score more runs with more people on base. You know, more people are able to get RBIs, runs, all of that stuff. So that's why stacking matters. Just because when an event happens, you score more points if you're stacking a team.
Right. And so there's a lot of correlation between the
Exactly.
players. Okay. So why... All right. So in fantasy, in Underdog Fantasy's Best Ball Tournament, we have some graphs for you that kind of illustrate a lot of the points that you've been making. So it looks super complicated, like kind of like a NASA... physicist.
Yeah, it's not that complicated, though.
But right now we're looking at max stack size and advanced/final rate over expectation. Tyler, can you just break it down for us in simple terms here?
Yeah. So advanced rate over expectation is how much your team advances past that first round. Finals rate over expectation is how likely are you to make it to the finals. Over expectation.
So what are we seeing here with this graph
in
in particular?
With this is how many players on a single team you have. So if you notice here, you have 5 players on the same team. You have a 3.76% chance of advancing over expectation there. Also, your finals expectation goes up a little bit there. So essentially this graph is saying you want to have one team that is at least 3 or 4 of the same players on that team.
All right. So number of teams stacked. Let's talk about that in this next graph. What is this telling you?
So this is all talking about how many, at least a pair of players on the same team.
Okay.
So in this graph, it goes up to 5 different teams, which 5 looks great, as far as the advance rate over expectation and finals rate over expectation. So we probably want to be in the range of more stacks and maybe stacks of 2 to 4.
Right. So not like huge stacks of players on the same team. All right, cool.
And I mean, the basics of it is if you're trying to get too many players on the same team on your best ball team on one team, you're probably spread out too much where you're losing too much upside to gain the correlation.
So the total number of stacked hitters per team drafted kind of speaks to your point about the different stacking strategies here. What do you make from this? information?
So this, obviously, the more players that are stacked, it looks like the better, at least to advance. Now, you can see with the 10, 11, 12, 13 range, or actually, sorry, the 12, 13, 14 range, the advance rate was way higher, but the finals rate actually came down.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So now it's also a very small sample size. This data is just from last year. And you can see a very few amount of teams had that much. So it could just be that those teams that were stacked didn't come through those final weeks of the season, the playoff weeks. But nonetheless, it looks like 10, 11 players stacked is what you're probably shooting for. Maybe go up to 12, 13.
All right, so we know that stacking is important for your Underdog Fantasy drafts. And as you get late into the draft, this is something that should come into mind. And Tyler's going to go through his top 5 teams to target when you're in these drafts.
Yeah, late in the draft, that is.
Late in the draft.
So the only players that we have listed here are pick ADP 100 or later. But it is very important later in the draft to really look at where your team is and to start trying to figure out, where you can stack and what players you can grab.
You can get some great leverage here. So let's start off with your number 1 overall stack late in drafts, and that's the San Francisco Giants. They have 13 games in the final round. 3 home, 10 away. Mitch Haniger, Mike Yastrzemski, Jock Peterson, Michael Conforto, and J.D. Davis are all around that ADP mark for you. What is it that you like about the Giants in this scenario?
Well, there's a couple things. One, we have some good hitters here, and Haniger has huge upside. He's fallen off or been hurt the last couple of years. So that's one thing. We have 13 games, and 10 of them are away. The Giants, their field is one of the worst for hitting. Having 10 games away is a huge bump for them. For those final 2 weeks, they are actually going to have the second best park factor in the league. So that very much helps their stack. Also, outfielders late are hard to come by. Giants have quite a few that are good.
Yeah, so a huge boost for them. Again, we're talking about when we mentioned the 13 games at the end of this season, it's going to be crucial. So that's basically focusing on the finals.
Yes, that's focusing on the finals. After all, we are trying to win. We're not just trying to advance.
Yeah.
And with the prize pool being so top heavy, you want to just maximize your chances to win.
All right, so a lot of great players there, as you mentioned. Mitch Haniger, one of the ones who was season shortened by an ankle injury, but he's productive when he's healthy, and he looks to be healthy this season. He's productive. He's got power as well, and especially that you mentioned they're on the road and not playing at their terrible ballpark. So it's a huge factor.
Yastrzemski has shown some real flashes. Jock Peterson can get super hot. So if he gets hot in those final 2 weeks, and you have a couple other guys like that, could win it for you.
There you go. All right, next up, we've got the New York Mets, who have 14 games, 7 home, 7 away. Mark Canha, Jeff McNeil, Tommy Pham, Brett Beatty, Eduardo Escobar, and Daniel Vogelbach, or Vogelbaum as we like to refer to. What is it about the Mets that you're liking here?
Well, first, they have 14 games. There's only a handful of teams, or there's only like 3 teams that have 14 games over those last 2 weeks. So that is very interesting. Also, the Citi Field has changed its outfield a little bit. They are moving fence in a little bit. Just slightly. It's not going to be a huge effect, but obviously it will produce a little more home runs with the field slightly in. And then also they just have good players. Canha is really good. Pham is likely the 4th outfielder coming into this season. However, if an outfielder gets hurt, you're getting a ton of production late in the draft from him. McNeil I don't love it in that spot, but he is going that late, so he's somebody you can easily throw in. And then Batty, huge prospect. So I like the Mets stacks here. Yeah. Really, the 14 games is the huge thing with them.
Yeah, Canha was dealing with gastritis last season, so he was having trouble keeping weight on, and he was really struggling with that this season, but he is healthy now, and so I think that can be a huge impact there for you on Underdog Fantasy.
Totally. And I mean, the Mets scored a lot of runs last year. If they are able to produce similarly and have 14 games, it's a big boost.
And especially at the end of that season in a tough NL East that they are going to be fighting at the end of the season for sure. Yes. Next up, we're looking at the Los Angeles Dodgers, 13 games, 10 home, 3 away, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Miguel Vargas, Chris Taylor, James Outman, David Peralta, Miguel Rojas.
It's the Dodgers. We know the Dodgers are going to have a decent offense. They have some stars up top. And then you're looking at Muncy, Will Smith, guys that are going to be in the heart of the order with prospects like Miguel Vargas and Outman towards the end here. So I think you can get a lot of production on this Dodgers team. They have 13 games, which is the average for those last 2 weeks. But this is all about the fact that it is the Los Angeles Dodgers. You're able to get late in the draft, and there's a lot of guys there that you can use to stack.
All right, another good team to stack will be the Boston Red Sox. 13 games, 7 home, 6 away. Alex Verdugo, Kike Hernandez, Tristan Casas, Adam Duvall, Justin Turner, Alberto Mondesi. What do you like about the Red Sox here?
Yeah, the Red Sox have a lot of interesting guys. This is another team where they have a lot of outfielders late that we can take. So if you are a little thin on outfield, you could stack Boston late and kind of fill another stack and your outfield roster here. Also, Red Sox, the park factor, they're going to be the fifth best for park factor over those last 2 weeks. So you got to like that. As far as an offense, there is a little unknown here. They've lost some players. Trevor Story's hurt. So we're going to have to see how this offense comes and gels, but it's very interesting. A lot of guys late in a really good park.
Yeah, exactly. That park factor, Fenway. That's a nice boost for you there. How about the St. Louis Cardinals? 13 games for them, 7 home, 6 away. Lars Nootbaar, Tommy Edman, Wilson Contreras, Dylan Carlson, Brendan Donovan, and Nolan Gorman. What are you liking about this Cardinals stack here?
I love this Cardinals offense. We have 13 games here again. And there's a lot of guys that I think are just going as a value in this stack and outfielders. I think Lars Nootbaar might be going a little bit late. I think Brendan Donovan has huge breakout potential here. Also, Wilson Contreras is probably going a little late. He's in a really good offense this year. He's going to be in the heart of the order, surrounded by guys like Goldie and Arenado. Yeah. I think you want to get a piece of that when it's so late. And you can stack with so many other guys.
Exactly. So overall, the components we're looking at is how many games do they have? Where are they playing those games? Are they in a good offense? Those are the things you kind of have to consider for your team stacks. But either way, stacking is still important. And these are 5 teams that you should be looking for to get your Underdog Fantasy drafts.
There are some other ones you can look at too. Like the Cubs, for instance, are playing in Colorado, in Cincinnati. And then at home, obviously, if the wind's blowing out, it's a home run ballpark.
It makes me feel better about my Seiya Suzuki pick in one of my drafts. All right, so that's your team stacks for you late in the late rounds for Underdog Fantasy. So make sure to use our advice. Hopefully, it'll get you into the finals and earn you some money.
Into the finals with a chance to win.
There you go. All right, make sure to watch our other Underdog Fantasy Best Ball videos, like our other strategies, our sleepers, our fades. Just take in all the information so that you can dominate your best ball drafts. And when you do your best ball drafts, make sure, if you don't already have Underdog Fantasy, use our promo code LineStar for up to $100 of your deposit match. Also, sign up for notifications on our YouTube page so you know when we're coming out with all of these videos. We'll also be coming out with some daily picks videos as well, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and comment below. Good luck in all your best ball drafts. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Mark Canna.